The Marlins, as we know, are a tumorous organization. But even with that, they have more World Series titles in my lifetime than my own favorite team. But anyways, I'm here to talk about this team and organization in a video because a lot of the moves that were made last offseason still don't make sense to a lot of people. And I just wanted to give my take and also give some sort of theories as to why those sort of happened. So let's go back to 2016. They came off of a bit of a disappointing season in 2015 and hadn't had a winning season since 2009 or a playoff appearance since 2003, but they still had a lot of promising pieces with Giancarlo Stanton, Christian Yelich, and Dee Gordon locked up long term to go along with some other pieces like JT Realmuto, Justin Bour, Marcell Ozuna, Adeiny Hechavarria, Derek Dietrich, and of course, Jose Fernandez, who was coming back very strong off of his injury. The issue was with their sketchy and or washed up starters with the likes of Matt Latos, Dan Haren, David Phelps, Jared Kozar, and others. You can choose whether or not to blame those acquisitions for blowing in their faces on the pitchers not being good or on the pitching coach Chuck Hernandez, but Chuck was gone after that. How to recover from this is to find more sketchy pitchers. Wei and Chen come on down to Miami for 5 years and $80 million.
Fly ball struck well to right. Back goes Ichiro onto the track at the wall. It is gone. Home run.
Even Jose Fernandez couldn't mask every issue with that rotation. They still had a decent season for their standards and showed promise, but when it comes to the case of Jose Fernandez, once he was gone, it created a massive hole in their roster that was already prevalent, and they decided to find more sketchy pitcher acquisitions after that, because that worked out well the last couple of times. But of course, you can place some of the blame on Jeffrey Loria, despised by Marlin fans and the city of Miami, going through fire sales and strong-arming the city for a new stadium. Oof, man, Jeffrey Loria. So 2017 comes with not many expectations. They still had excellent pieces in the hitting core and some good pieces in the bullpen before their bullpen coach was gone, because their new one, ugh. So the new year comes with a 26-year-old Marcell Ozuna having a career year, 26-year-old JT Realmuto having a career year, a fresh from suspension Dee Gordon not doing too bad, an MVP campaign for 27-year-old Giancarlo Stanton, and a 25-year-old Christian Yelich having a down year, but still showing that he could be very useful in a lineup. Now, how does that team only win 77 games? Oh yeah, sketchy pitching depth and an underachieving bullpen. They may not have had too many promising pitchers, but as long as they get some real pitching coaches and take advantage of this decent free agent pitching class, they should be fine. Oh, and Jeffrey Loria should be selling the team. Thank God. They no longer have to deal with making the Oakland Athletics seem like a big spending franchise in comparison with Jeffrey Loria selling the team. And now we get to the point where I emphasize the question of the video: was the wrong owner chosen? Or a better question could even be, did Jeter and Sherman bid too much? Did that ownership group bid too much to buy the Marlins? So let's take a look at the two candidates to buy the team. You have Jorge Mas, para mejor propiedad. And you have Derek Jeter, a 4% ownership stake. But hey, you can't say no to a former player. We know who they chose, but it seems like neither candidate was in a good place to improve the team because of what Jeffrey Loria was trying to sell the team for, and because of what he left behind. The reason being that the Marlins are in a lot of depth because of what Jeffrey Loria did. As I hinted before, strong-arming a city for a new stadium and going through many fire sales will make you a loved person in the city. It also goes along with the terrible TV deal and the lack of sponsorships, so to me, it seems like the Jeter and Sherman ownership group didn't have the capital to finance this team, or finance this organization more accurately. At least for what they bid to buy the Marlins, it looked like they weren't in a good situation to finance this team. So, in other words, Jeffrey Loria got another one to bite. The cost to keep the team together would have been $25 million more expensive to keep the 2017 Marlins for 2018. So, there's a little bit more perspective there. Both candidates were planning on cutting down the payroll because they kind of had to, but one was planning on cutting it down at a much smaller amount compared to the other one. But hey, it doesn't matter if an ownership group doesn't have the capital to finance the Marlins. Derek Jeter has a stake in the ownership, so that's all that matters. The owners that'll liquidate the team will surely find a way to make this team less of a tumor on the league, because liquidation has worked out perfectly well in the past, hasn't it? It's time to get rid of everything and everyone, even the guy who has cancer and needed surgery. There's no room for any of the past failure contributions.
You're fired!
But hey, it's always good to hear some perspective from the person that's involved with this entire situation, so let's hear it from Derek Jeter himself.
Some fans may be upset because of some of the moves that we've made, but like I said, my number one priority, our number one priority is to make this organization better, and every move that we make is to do that. So I can't sit here and tell the fan base to trust me because they don't know me. I think you develop trust over time, but we hope they give us that opportunity to show that we're improving this organization.
See, the thing is that all you needed were some real pitchers and real pitching coaches to become World Series contenders. But hey, for someone who has to pay off a lot of debt, that isn't a bad answer, I suppose. So, to no one's surprise, aside from maybe Jeter and Sherman's, the Marlins are still a train wreck of a franchise. Another thing is that their attendance was very, very embarrassing this year. It gets to the level of 2004 Expos bad. It was so bad that there were even some AAA teams that were close to topping those numbers that the Marlins put up in terms of attendance. And I mean, to be quite honest, would you want to see a team like this? They've made 2 playoff appearances. They constantly go through fire sales. They traded away fan favorites, Miguel Cabrera, Giancarlo Stanton. Why would you want to see this? Why would you want to see this product? Why would you want to see this product when there are plenty of other things to do? They were hoping that this time would be different, but it's the same sort of thing. Now, of course, like I said, this was not a very easy situation because they had to pay off a lot of debt, but I don't think the right ownership group was taken, because at least with Jorge Mas, he was planning on cutting down the payroll $10 million less of what it would have cost to keep the players from 2017. You're stuck with some bad contracts, but still, I feel like the wrong ownership group was chosen for the Marlins. It's still early in the tenure of ownership for the Jeter and Sherman group, and a lot can happen in a few years, but the delusional mentality of Derek Jeter is not something very promising. How this team has a World Series title in my lifetime is beyond me. Now, for shameless plug reasons, make sure to follow me on Twitter, @AceGilbertMiles. I have some semi-thoughtful takes, but also mainly YouTube updates on there. And another thing is, if you are a baseball fan, make sure to subscribe to this channel, because I talk about baseball, and I'm going to be uploading at a more frequent rate. So if you are a baseball fan, I do make baseball videos. A lot of plans with this channel moving forward. If you are also a football fan or a hockey fan or a basketball fan, I upload on those sports too, but on different channels. Links in the description for that. Only a few uploads, so not really much to showcase in terms of things that I've uploaded so far, but I have some plans for the future, so if you want to subscribe and for more baseball videos, for sure, because there's a lot that I want to get to. There's a lot that I want to try out, and that'll do it. I never know how to close these things without being too corny, so